Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to Digital Caveman Presents 10 Transformers of 2020 That Disappointed Me. I, as always, am your host, Digital Caveman. Thank you for choosing to watch my videos. If you enjoy what you see, please comment below, like, share, subscribe, and ding that bell. That way you'll know when I put out new content. This is a list of my own personal feelings, and you may not feel the same. But that's okay, because if we all liked or disliked the same things, this would be a pretty boring world. Now, I am not presenting this list with numbers because there is no standing of any kind. The figures were placed in here randomly. And there's nothing bad about any of the figures on this list, just that something or things that disappointed me personally. And now, without further ado, let's get into it. Generation selects Soundwave Spy Patrol 3rd Unit, including Left to Right, Frenzy, Wing Thing, Knock, and Scar. Now, these guys, like the other Spy Patrol units, turn into what they're calling shields. I guess they could be shields. We'll call them shields. But that's not the disappointment in the set. At least to me. Wing Thing. Who the hell is Wing Thing? And Hasbro, why did you put a virtually unknown, at least to me, repainted Ratbat? Why no Buzzsaw? We really needed Buzzsaw to complete the original tape set. But we got Wing Thing. So now I guess I'm going to have to try and find a second Laserbeak and try to repaint him. Generation selects Centurion Drone with accessory pack. Now, there's nothing wrong with the Centurion Drone itself. It's a nice looking repaint of the Siege Brunt. But what I had issue with was that I had to buy him to get the accessory pack. The pack should have been a separate thing altogether. And then there's the paint, or lack thereof, that is the real letdown. On the few things that were painted in the accessory pack, they look okay. And I'm glad they included those paint applications. But some of the other issues they could have fixed by just using colored plastic. Which, well, they did use colored plastic. It was just all gray. They could have molded some of the guns in black or in purple, red, you know, whatever. But I'm sure this particular color plastic is what they had running on the line at the time. That's probably why we got nothing but, almost nothing but gray accessories, rather. The miniature Soundwave, he came with some paint apps. The Gun Mode Megatron, he came with some paint apps. And as far as the small things go, that's about it for the paint apps. The cage that the Autobots trapped Ravage in one episode of the G1 cartoon came in colored plastic. And the other things that you see here, I painted them myself because the gray, it just didn't sit well with me. And this is my first time painting accessories. I think I didn't do such a bad job, although I probably should have used a little more glossier black on the guns than what I did. And Reflector, he still needs some paint. I hadn't finished with him. But all the accessories they're nice to have. Why didn't they come with their specific figures, though, Hasbro? I don't see why you couldn't have included an extra gun with some of these guys. But it is what it is. But at least I have a roller now. Deluxe Class, Earthrise, Ironhide, and Ratchet. Now, both of these guys were Amazon exclusives, and they both came in 2-packs, just not a 2-pack together. Ironhide came with Prowl, and Ratchet came with a repaint of RC called Lifeline. Now, robot mode on these guys looks pretty good. Nice paint details. But where the subparness for me comes in is in the alt modes. Alright, first let's talk about the elephant in the van. The feet. Yes, feet. Feet where doors should be. Feet. Enough people mentioned this flaw in the Siege version of the mold, of which this is a retool. And Hasbro should have known better than to not engineer some new feet for this guy that, when he's in alt mode, look like the back doors of a van. I don't really think that was too much to ask for, Hasbro. And then there's the windows, which, you know, the clear ones, they look okay. The shoulder joint kind of in the way. But, you know, this one window here, it's partially clear and then partially solid plastic. And this window is all solid plastic. I don't really know how they could have fixed that too much other than not making any of the windows clear, or making all the windows clear and putting an insert behind them. Maybe that would have done the trick. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. But there they are in alt mode with their Cybertronian tires. Earthrise Leader Class Double Dealer. The robot mode looks good, but it seems a lot of people, myself included unfortunately, had issues with loose joints. Mine, he kind of won't stand up level. He leans to the side. Some looseness here in the leg joint. And that. And I guess it is what it is. Missile truck mode, I have no issues with. I actually think it looks pretty neat. Can raise the missile up to a firing position and put the supports out. Overall, it looks pretty decent. I like it. Now let's talk about the real letdown. Hasbro gave us the bird on this one. Literally. And then there's the secondary missile placement. Okay, that's enough of that, you crazy chicken. Earthrise Voyager Class Megatron. The robot mode on this one looks good. It's very, very G1 looking to me. The abdomen and the face and head. Very, very G1. But the real issue with this figure is this hunky clunky piece of junk. if it'll come out of there. This. The Siege version of this Megatron mold had a very similar device, which was complained about. The other one looked a little bit better than this one. Just, this is clunky and junky. Why didn't you fix this, Hasbro? Come on, really. His tank mode is decent. It's gappy in some places where you can see stuff like his head under there. And that. It's a little messy. Feet. Messy. But other than that, it's passable. It's an Earth tank. Earthrise Voyager class Quintesson Judge. Alt mode. And here it is, folks, the raging dumpster fire of 2020. I think this speaks for itself. It's not really very well put together, in my opinion. Hasbro, you really could have done without giving this one an alt mode. Most of us would have been happy with just the robot mode and no transformation. It's a Quintesson. They never transformed in the show or the comics or anything that I've ever seen. So, instead of this alt mode, spending money on engineering all this, you could have given us articulated jaws on all the faces, or articulated tentacles of some kind, or even a light up feature for the repulsor. It does, however, have some play value. If you're a kid and you're playing with it, you can put a Micromaster inside the cage, and then he goes off to his trial and innocent, feed him to the Shocktakons. Earthrise Deluxe Class Runabout and Runamuck. Runabout here was a Target exclusive that wasn't too hard to come by. Definitely not as hard to come by as a Thrust. And then Runamuck here was just part of a basic release. Often referred to by some parties as the Beavis and Butthead of the Decepticons, they are the Battle Chargers. These robot modes look pretty good. They even have fake tires that harkens back to the pullback motor gimmick of the G1 figures. The alt modes are kind of gappity. When some of the panels lock into place, other ones pop out. I feel like it looks worse on Runamuck than it does on Runabout. I think that's due to the fact of the coloring. And you see how gappy this one is. Not as bad on this side right there. This one looks pretty smooth. Take it around to the other side, and I said that, and now it's not gapping. So there's a little bit right here, and here, and a little bit right here. But overall, I think it was a good try. Probably some of the pegs and stuff might be able to be shaved down to fix it to where it fits in a little better. Maybe not. It doesn't really matter. Mine's going to stay in robot mode anyway. Earthrise Deluxe Class Sunstreaker. I had really high hopes for this one. This is the first Sunstreaker that I've ever had. It's just too bad that he's actually two different colors of yellow that don't match up. There's some molded, well, doggone it, Sunstreaker. The plastic's molded in yellow, and then some places it's painted, and the paint and the plastic just don't match up. And that's really unfortunate, as the robot mode looks really great. The alt mode isn't horrible, except right along in here it's kind of gappy on mine. I don't know if everybody's is like this. I just have a hard time getting it to fit in place. Maybe the tolerances aren't quite what they should be. Again, I don't know if everybody has that issue with theirs, but I do with mine. And of course you can see how bad the colors don't match up in this mode, even worse than in robot mode. And no spoiler. Look at, perfect place. We could have had a big old spoiler right here. No spoiler. But there are third-party alternatives to that, so if you really want a spoiler, look on the internet, you'll find one. Earthrise Deluxe Class Modulator Airwave. Airwave's robot mode it's okay. It doesn't look bad. I like his little squatty head. Like his shoulders are way too big for him or something. I don't know, but I think it looks neat. Airwave has two decent alt modes, one of which is this one, some sort of land-based aircraft carrier for MicroMasters. And then there's this one, which is a MicroMaster airport, it appears. Although because of the visible treads, it might also be a rolling airport. This rocket base really just, it doesn't work at all. It's, just look at it. It's, I don't know what to say. And this is supposed to be the version that represents the G1 MicroMaster base Airwave the best, and it doesn't, it's not quite a dumpster fire, just an empty dumpster. But yeah, let's take care of that. Well, there you go. Megatron's been beating some people up again. Okay, now he's not an empty dumpster. He's got some dump in him. Earthrise Deluxe RC. RC is perhaps the biggest disappointment for me on the list. The super giant backpack. I don't know what to say about it. At least it can come off and you can use it as a hoverboard. A few more paint apps on the face, at least, would have really improved this figure. Her face is just like kind of blank, except for the eyes. And again, this giant backpack, also a lot of hollowness in the legs too. The colors are nice. I think she's a decent representation of the G1 cartoon character. Now for her alt mode, you pretty much just fold the robot into the backpack. And I can't think of a better example of what it means when people say shell former than that. Other than that, the alt mode looks like RC. Just beware of this piece right here because it will fall out. And you will never see it again once it does. Because you'll be doing something, you won't notice it falls out while you're transforming it. And when you do notice it, you'll be like, crap, where did it go? But all in all, not a bad RC. She'll take the place of my Classics version, at least for a while. In closing, I'd like to reiterate that no figure on this list was a bad one. Just that in some way they disappointed me and wished that they were better. If you like this video, remember to comment below, like, share, subscribe, and ding that bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.